You're watching Sports Beat.
Chase Hansen with a big 6. Utah leads it with 16 seconds to play. Smith, a one-handed grab. The Utah defense comes up big. We won't lose this game.
It's time. Camp is underway, and so is the countdown to the season opener. Thanks for joining us for an in-depth preview of the 2017 Utah Utes. Expectations are high. The Utes are picked to finish second in the Pac-12 South behind USC. The program has become a model of consistency in the Pac-12 and earned the respect of many in the conference.
Utah's real physical, real violent, and you know, they're going to try to club you, you know.
Options. He's going to be sacked in the end zone.
They're really just a tough, hard-nosed team.
Who's under pressure again? This time he can't escape.
They were big, strong, well-coached, physical people.
Oh, yeah, dude. I love playing Utah. That's always a fun game.
Rolls out, pressure, he's sacked!
They're physical. You know they're going to be a physical team.
Utah guys don't like to stay blocked.
I'm sure you didn't miss them.
Not at all. Not at all.
Look at that block.
It seems like every time we go up against them, it's an absolute fist fight, and it's always a close game.
10-5, it's a touchdown!
There's some competitors over there for sure. Some guys that are willing to bring it.
He's going to be the guy that puts the hit.
It's a grind. It's the end of the year, and you're playing one of the more physical teams in the Pac-12, and it's never easy.
Salt Lakes is always a tough place to play. I mean, the fans there are just absolutely crazy. You know, it's a great environment to play ball in, so it's going to be a fun place to play.
That's a safety. That's 2 points. And Arizona kicking.
Kyle's done a great job every year, and they're good every year.
I tell him all the time, I said, you lose all those guys, where'd you get these other guys? I would like to find out what holes he's pulling them out of.
Looking toward the end zone, firing outside. Touchdown!
They find a way to win games, and you know that's such a credit to Coach Whittingham and what he's done there.
I watch his team play and how hard they play, and who they recruit year in and year out, and what a job they do there as far as projecting and evaluating talent. I got a lot of respect for what they do there, and then how they develop them. You look at especially their defense. There's not anybody in this league, and anybody I've seen in the country plays harder than what those guys do, and that tells you a lot about what kind of coaches they have and how they're teaching, and that leadership comes from the tops.
That game is a grind. That's the longest game. Whoever's going to run the ball better is going to win that game. Whoever's going to set the pass, that game is that's an offensive line dream right there, is that game. That's the offensive lineman's paradise.
Now, you must throw the ball efficiently to win the Pac-12 championship. That's been a struggle for the Utah offense. That's why Kyle Whittingham brought in Troy Taylor from Eastern Washington. Brittany Copeland has the story of why Taylor's offense is so innovative and how its inspiration came from an unlikely source.
Taylor wants a dynamic attack. He's big on trying out new things, spreading the field, and coming up with formations that create spacing. A majority of the offense is all him. He comes up with the plays.
I'm just big on trying a lot of different things, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, there's no harm. We'll move on.
So Taylor is constantly scribbling on yellow legal pads. For us, a whiteboard will have to do.
In some offenses, the quarterback would be responsible, for seeing what the coverage is, trying to find the most vulnerable part of that coverage. The problem is that defenders move after the ball snaps. So they'll give you a look that they may be in, like a cover 2 with 2 safeties, and then it might rotate to 1 high or man. It can change drastically after the play. So what I found is it's best to just have the quarterback look in certain areas. So if you look in certain areas, they tend to move in that area. So by pushing and moving your eyes to this area, it's going to have a chance to open up this area if it's zone, which is his second
all of a sudden someone's open.
That's right. And if he's not open, 3 and 4.
And the red team scores again.
Taylor's mission from back in his high school coaching days has been to create the best passing offense in the country. To get there, he studied other coaches like Mike Leach and Rich Rodriguez. He's found inspiration off the field, too. Just take a stroll down the aisle of your local public library and pick up a copy of Steve Jobs' biography.
The iPhone, you know, it's very powerful. You can do almost anything with it. You can do your finances with it. You can find out information about each other in seconds. 30 years ago, it would be the size of this building, right? The power that that computer has. Now it fits in your palm of your hand. It's an incredible tool, but what makes it revolutionary is that almost anybody can use it. The ability to take something that's complex and simplify it so that the average person can use it, that was enthralling to me. And so it's been kind of an inspiration for my offense.
Taylor isn't dumbing anything down. He's just trying to make his quarterback rely on pure instinct.
So I want my quarterback to be able to come in and step in just like he would use an iPhone. And the offense is dynamic, again, and complex in how it attacks the defense, but it's easy for him to use. For Apple, they always started in their design function was how easy is it going to be for the user? It'll always come back to that. They have one button on their phone, right? For me, it's how easy will it be for the quarterback? Because if I can keep it simple for the quarterback so they can just play and not think, and if they're successful, we're going to all be successful.
Last year, when Taylor was the co-offensive coordinator at Eastern Washington, he used to give out books to his players for them to read. He had a hard time getting them back, though. Taylor knows college athletes have enough on their plate, so he'll do the hard labor for them at Utah.
All right, thanks, Brittany. Change is nothing new for the Utah offense. Taylor's the 9th OC in the past 10 years. It was a bold move, but a risk Kyle Whittingham is willing to make.
Well, we certainly made a lot of progress in spring. Really like everything Troy's doing with the throwing game, and players have embraced it. You know, they feel good about it, and that's half the battle. If your players believe in what you're doing and confident in what you're doing, then you got a chance. And so we're off to a good start. Haven't played anybody yet, so don't want to get too far ahead of things. But so far, it's been very positive. You know, we're still a work in progress right now, but if we can make as much progress in fall camp as we did in spring ball, I think we're going to be okay.
If you want to learn more about Troy Taylor and his skill as a quarterback coach and play caller, just ask Washington quarterback Jake Browning. He played for Taylor at Folsom High School in Folsom, California. In 46 games, Jake threw for 16,775 yards and 229 touchdowns, all state records. His 91 touchdown passes as a senior is a national record.
I mean, it all starts with the quarterback. He simplifies it for the quarterback and kind of tailors it to what your strengths are. A couple guys before me at Folsom were more runners. I wasn't as much of a runner, so we didn't do as much of the running. It was more drop back. But I think the other thing is he's always constantly improving. He does a good job, getting people dialed in on what they're supposed to do and simplifies it for everyone to where they can just play fast. And but it looks complicated. So you kind of simplify it, like being able to find space, create space, and but I think it all starts with me. For me, it was pretty simple on the quarterbacks. Here's the read, go through your drop, and deliver an accurate ball. He believes in what he does, and it's a good system, and, he's working day in and day out. I mean, if you get a chance to interview him, you should ask him about his notebook, because he always got some notebook. He draws a line down the middle and just draws plays, just goes to town on it. So, obviously learned a lot from him, and, he prepared me really well for college, and, I hope he does really well, except for one game against us. But, yeah, I think he's a special coach, really good guy, character-wise, and can't say enough good things about him.
Snell will try to do that for the Utah quarterbacks, but who will that quarterback be executing Taylor's offense? Coach Whittingham won't name a starter yet. There will be an open competition in camp between Troy Williams, Tyler Huntley, and Cooper Bateman.
It was so close in the spring, and Troy played well. It's not because Troy didn't play well. Troy played well, Tyler played well, and Cooper Bateman just got better and better all throughout the course of spring football. And so all three of those guys played well enough to earn the opportunity to continue to show what they can do at fall camp. Now, we can't have that three-man competition going on for very long. We've got to pare it down to two sooner rather than later. The way Cooper played in spring, it wouldn't be fair, it wouldn't be right just to say, Cooper, you're out of it, because he played so well.
I think all those guys are dynamic enough to have a big impact on our team this year.
When you choose the guy and you say, this is our guy, you better be right. And you better have enough of a body of work to back up your decision.
Whoever wins that competition will get some help from a surprise addition to the team.
And talking to a lot of people, and most of all, talking to Darin himself.
Coach Witt explains his decision to add dismissed Oregon receiver Darin Carrington to the roster and why he's worth the risk. Our Utah football preview continues after this.
And Utah brings extra again. They throw it to Carrington.
I don't know, Ted. I think he's in.
Wow.
Darin Carrington broke your heart last year, making this spectacular game-winning catch that ended the Utes' hopes of winning the South. But now you'll be cheering for him. Carrington has joined the Utes as a graduate transfer. He was dismissed from Oregon in July after being charged with a DUI, the latest in a string of incidents involving Carrington. He's getting a second chance at Utah. Kyle Whittingham believes it's a risk worth taking.
Well, it's a decision that is based on a lot of research and talking to a lot of people. And most of all, talking to Darin himself. And there may be an athlete that had the same exact track record as Darin that we wouldn't have brought in. I'm big on attitude, the kid's attitude. Where is he in respect to remorse from what happened? You know, is he a good kid that's made a few dumb mistakes, or is he just a bad kid? So I think Darin has not made the smartest decisions. He'll readily admit that. But he comes from a solid background, great family. And appears to me to be a fantastic kid.
And, I think that's one of the good things about our school and our program, that no matter what walk of life you come from, we try to do a good job of embracing him as a player and as a teammate.
It's difficult because you try to help young people, and you want to help young people. You want to help them reach all their dreams, goals, and aspirations. But then it's not difficult when you have rules in place and you hold everyone accountable to those rules. Love the young man, and I wish him nothing but the best.
He's a great, hard-working competitor. He loves to go out there and fight for everything he wants, and he go out there, he's going to earn it. He's not going to ask for anybody to hand him out. He's never asked for handouts. He goes out there and he works hard every day. He's going to go out there and he's going to be a competitor. That's what you guys are going to get.
He's a good guy. I've known him for a while, and he's very athletic, very special player. But I think he's a good person. I think he'll get it turned around.
See how it goes. We have to take a quick time out. Our Utah football preview continues next with a look on the defensive side of the ball. Ask these Pac-12 network analysts coming up next. The Utes had 4 offensive linemen taken in the 2017 NFL draft. They'll be tough to replace. Experience is lacking and chemistry must be developed, but talent isn't an issue.
We feel like they're very talented, short on experience. There's going to be years where you do lose 3 or 4, maybe all 5 of your offensive linemen. It's just cyclical, and the 2 most important position groups other than the quarterback is the offensive line and the secondary, and that happens to be where we took the biggest hits this year.
The Utes have been blessed with a 1,000-yard back for 3 straight seasons. So who's next? Armand Shine, Zach Moss, and Devontae Henry Cole will all battle for the starting job.
Armand to the 20, to the 15, 10, 5, it's a touchdown! Shine on, Armand!
Armand Shine had really earned the job and was coming into his own last year right before he got hurt. He had the knee injury, and he had become the guy. He was going to be the lead back, and so I've got a lot of faith in Armand. Our entire staff does. But Zach Moss also chipped in with 300 or 400 yards. Devontae Henry Cole really had an exceptional spring, so he's a guy that we think can contribute. So whether it's one guy getting 1,000 yards or 3 guys getting 300 or 400 yards each, really doesn't matter as long as you're getting the production.
Now to the Utah defense. There are questions at cornerback, but the front 7 will be elite once again, led by their anchor in the middle, senior defensive tackle Lolo Tulele.
Gets picked off. See you later.
I love to have that physical, tough mentality, getting after it. People talking about us, you know, they're hurting after the game and all that when they play us. At the corner positions, I mean, you got guys like Julian Blackman. He's a beast. I mean, I think he has at least one-handed pick every practice. So I'm excited to see him. Casey Hughes, I'm excited to see him as well. I think, and this Jalen Johnson, I've been watching him, and he's a very, very talented athlete.
We lost probably 95% of the snaps at corner and nickel, due to graduation. And so Boobie Hobbs has a little bit of experience, but really there's no one else that has much playing time. But we've got guys that fit the mold to a T of what we're looking for.
What's it like playing with Lowell every day?
Oh, he's a monster. I think everybody can see that. The guy demands double teams. He demands attention every time, so it makes my job just a lot easier.
Dude has like the most powerful hands I've ever felt. Like him and Danny Sheldon are probably like my two, he's definitely up there, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see how hard they work. Nothing happens just automatically. You can't just show up and be good.
I think we have more depth than we had last year, a lot more depth.
While I was at Pac-12 Media Days, I had a chance to talk to 3 Pac-12 Network analysts and get their thoughts on the Utes. Yogi Roth, Curtis Conway, and Anthony Herron addressed some of the questions facing the Utes in 2017, starting with the hire of Troy Taylor.
His hire was, to me, one of the more stunning hires in the country this offseason from an assistant coach standpoint. For Kyle Whittingham to go outside the norm of what he's operating, because from a formational standpoint, Utah's been a team that's run some spread over the years, but it's been more of a power spread, as you know, Jeremiah. And so for them to be able to bust folks in the mouth and control the clock, those were things that really enhanced how they were able to operate defensively. Troy Taylor's system, they're going to look for it to be far more up-tempo, and they're going to lead more so with the pass than with the run when they're really humming in the way they want to hum. Now, there's going to be a transitional phase, I think, so we may not see from game one how they're really able to do that, but when they're really operating at their best, Troy Taylor's the type of coach where he hasn't had the major success at the FBS level as a collegiate coach. A lot of his most recent success came at the FCS level and at the high school level. So to me, the reason I found it stunning, not just because of Troy Taylor's resume, but because of his system that Kyle Whittingham's going to allow him to implement. And if that offense really gets going, one of my concerns is maybe it'll detract from that dominant defense of Utah, but that's the trade-off that Kyle Whittingham's counting on.
Are you surprised the quarterback position is still open, that Kyle's not naming a starter with a senior like Troy who's established himself?
No, I'm not. I mean, and I say that because they've got some depth there. You look at Tyler Huntley. I mean, when he was in, he played well. You look at Troy at times. I love rolling back the USC game. You see that drive. He makes a couple great throws there to Timmy Patrick down the sideline. I mean, he's got the skill set as well. And I really think that the biggest key in this conference this year is competitive depth. I'm excited for it. You even add Cooper Bateman in the mix. I mean, it just makes it interesting. And I think you have to create and cultivate competitive cauldrons. That's what Bill Walsh used to call it. How competitive can you make an environment in practice so that when they play freely? And I think you start at the quarterback position because there is, whether you like it or not, there's a trickle-down effect there to the rest of the team.
Picked to finish second in the South. Did you agree with that?
I don't think so. I just think there's so many obstacles they have to go through. I mean, of course, on paper, things look a certain way, but, I mean, when you look at what UCLA is bringing back offensively, Jim has always done a pretty good job with his defense. Offense is where they struggled. I think Josh is a phenomenal quarterback. I think if he could, get back on track to what we saw a little glimpse of his freshman year, they're going to be hard to stop. Colorado, I mean, they're bringing back everyone but their quarterback, and Steven Montez. When he stepped in the game, he played well last year. Defensively, it's going to be tight because, they did a lot defensively to help, but, right now, I would have to say UCLA, Colorado probably has that second spot.
Great insight. You'll see him on the Pac-12 broadcast throughout the year. Up next, the highlight of the half hour.
Utah leads it with 16 seconds to play.
A preview of what's to come this fall. Our 2017 hype video is coming up next. The Utes lost 8 players to the NFL draft and 8 more signed in free agency. Next man up, who will be the stars of 2017? Here's a sample of what you can expect to see this fall.
Chase Hansen with a pick six. Utah leads it with 16 seconds to play. Tyrone Smith, a one-handed grab. The Utah defense comes up big.
We won't lose this game.